Hey, skibbity turtleneck, everybody. Happy Pride Month.
Yes, sir.
It's your SWAM and Howdy back again for another fun little doodaddy.
We're here to pride the lightning.
So, as far as Pride goes, uh, I celebrate it because I'm, as my work friends dub me, trisexual. I'll try anything once. And that's not too far out from things, but he's a unicorn. I don't know if that's
Yeah, man.
Pride. Is that your sexual orientation, unicorn?
Yeah, we're unicorns. We are. We're not furries. Furries are creepy. We're unicorns. We're all right.
So well stated. Furries are fucking creepy, and they should not be part of the LGBTQA plus pi navigation system
Yeah, it's like
at all.
That's just kind of like furries are kind of just like a safe haven for total creep degenerates. So that's a whole other conversation in itself.
Yeah, like I get kids, dressing up like, oh look, I'm a whatever. But when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, dressing up as a dog and shitting on things like now.
And to be honest with you, if you have to regularly hide your identity to go out and enjoy your personal life, there's probably issues with your personal life.
Yeah, just don't do that.
We're wearing this mask right now for entertainment purposes. Everybody watching this knows who I am. There's no secrets here.
Right. He doesn't go hope that there's a fellow unicorn that's going to sit on his horn or something.
I'm a solo unicorn. I'm one of a kind.
Call it the grease missile.
Yeah, that thing.
But I mean, you could identify yourself now if you feel like taking that off, unless you want to leave it on. I mean, that's
we're gonna yeah.
You're a little muffly.
The novelty wears off pretty quick because
stinks.
It stinks and it's hot outside, so I don't need the extra warmth today.
It's relatively cool in here. Oh, as noticed,
yeah.
I set up in a new spot. I'm no longer in the little upstairs bedroom.
We are no longer in the upstairs dungeon. We are now in the downstairs dungeon.
Which, if it was still upstairs, it would be a sauna.
Yeah.
And my balls would be floating within themselves.
Certainly. Swamp ass galore.
Yeah, it'd be terrible.
Yes.
But on the Pride Month, what's your opinion on it?
I feel like Pride Month is an okay thing. I feel like gay people need to form their own community because there's still parts of the country where like only a handful of gay people in every town. I mean, I'm not saying they have to overtake anything. It's good to be able to find each other. I think the controversy in a lot of cases comes from the fact that like as soon as June 1st hits, all the corporations got to change all their social media pictures to rainbows. They got to put rainbow stuff in the front of the store, and like that's fine and dandy. But that doesn't mean those companies actually give a shit about the LGBT community. So there's like,
well, they don't. They're doing it for money.
There's two different sides to this issue.
See, now I thought Trump put an end to all this, which is why I bought all the Pride stuff, because it'd be a hot commodity because Trump banned it and I could resell it.
I think Trump banned it from government buildings, but that's not stopping anybody from selling it. I think that's pretty much what that comes down to. Like he just doesn't have the flags hanging at like the White House and shit like that.
Well, good, but I mean, it still makes.
I think I don't quote me on that, but I think that's how that went.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, the LGBTQIA plus Panama Canal, like that whole community, I feel like was a lot better when it was just gays and lesbians.
Oh yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from on that one too. It's like I don't want to feel exclusionary because like even within the LGBT community, there's like all kinds of infighting and crazy shit. Like certain people can't get along with each other, but that kind of goes with every community. That's not really anything exclusive to them. But I'm picking up what you're putting down because I feel like kind of what I said about the corporations, just kind of like pretending for 1 month a year that they care. There's a lot of people who I feel like individuals like you and I who also only pretend to care 1 month a year. And it's just like, I don't know. I feel like that's part of the bigger problem of social media kind of oversaturating the celebration of a lot of holidays. Not really holidays, but you know what I'm saying? Like stuff that's for a particular niche community is kind of like your face all the time now. So it's like,
yeah, it's not really a holiday when it's an entire month.
No. Holiday is not the right word. Celebration, I guess, would be a better word for it. But yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like social media kind of, I don't want to use the word tainted, but I feel like it kind of overblew the entire thing and kind of like.
I'm sure a lot of them use the word taint and blue.
Well, yeah. Wise choice of words, I suppose.
Well, like gays and lesbians, whatever. You be you, do you. Like, I don't think they should be singled out for anything. Like, whatever. You want to be gay. It's fine.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, there's nothing wrong with joking amongst each other. Like, if you want to make a joke, like, there's a fine line between humor and what I would consider just like
Malicious
yeah,
intent.
and like, I have a lot of friends who make jokes about gay stuff, and it's like, that's whatever. Like, I'm not gay myself, but I have a lot of friends and acquaintances who are, and it's like, in most cases, they're just average people. They get up, they get dressed, they go to work, they have their hobbies in their free time, and that's that.
Right.
Not everybody makes it
Making
their
them
entire
gay,
life.
it's not like it's an ailment.
Yeah,
As some people say, they think it is. I
Yeah.
feel like with the whole
some people define their
rights
whole
thing,
personality around it, but I
which,
also feel
yeah.
like in a lot of those cases, I mean, some people might have their reasons. A lot of it depends on where you grew up. If you grew up in a town where there's gay people everywhere, you might feel more comfortable identifying yourself. But if you grew up in a small town where like you were the only person who felt that way in your town, I could kind of see why you would make it a big part of your identity, because it's almost at that point kind of like a rebellion type thing. But again, every individual is different. Everyone's experience is different. The most important thing I feel like is to just sit down and talk to somebody for a few minutes. Like, most people are going to tell you their side of the story. You don't have to agree with it, but there's a lot of people out there. Some people are assholes. Some people are really cool. And again, that applies to everything in life, not just this.
Well, it's like my cousin's gay. I accept him for who he is,
Yeah.
whatever. He's one of the extra gays. Like, everything he does is extra. Like, you can definitely tell a gay person by their extraness.
Well, here's one thing I will say, and I do not mean this in any disrespect. Of all the people I grew up with who eventually came out of the closet and identified themselves as being part of the LGBT community, quite a few of them I kind of had that feeling about from a young age. And again, I don't mean that in a disrespectful or a harmful way, but there were definitely some like personality factors, environmental factors that I feel kind of play into that. So, but that kind of comes back to the whole argument of like, is somebody born gay or somebody choose to be gay? And I feel like in a lot of cases, some of these people are just born like that. Like, I really don't think that's, I'm not saying there aren't people who try to force an identity on themselves as a teenager or something, but a lot of the people I know who are gay as adults were gay as kids, even if they didn't realize they were, if that makes sense.
Well, with the whole choice and all that stuff, I feel like maybe to a degree it could be a choice.
Yeah.
Like, you're growing up, it's like, oh, I like boobies, and it's like, oh, I like schlong.
Yeah.
Which one do I like more? So, but that's probably where a lot of bisexuals come from.
Well, yeah, that's another thing too. Is that's a whole other dynamic in itself.
Which I support bisexual women 100%.
Yeah.
In support. Bisexual women. But transsexuals, no. I don't support that. Like, at all. But my first video that I got audio muted from TikTok involved transmission fluid.
Well,
Now, I've known
transmission fluid, eh?
I've known transmission fluid as tranny fluid before I even knew what the hell a transvestite was. So, like, yeah, was I making
It reminds
fun
me of in the far distant past of 2 years ago when everyone was calling Bud Light tranny fluid for a very brief time.
Yeah.
So, but you know what?
But it's hysterical, and that's why I do it. There's humor in it.
And that comes back to what I said a couple minutes ago about making humor. When the Bud Light thing was going on, like, Bud Light to me, it's never been a beer I was a fan of. I don't dislike it. I don't love it. It's kind of just there.
It's kind of like a phase beer. You go through your Bud Light phase, and then you never want to touch it again.
But one thing I'll say is when all that stuff was going on, you had all these, and again, social media is a culprit when it comes to crap like this. And the big thing I'll say is when that was going on, people were like, Bud Light's losing all this, Bud Light's losing all that. And I'm sure I have no statistics at my disposal right now, but I'm sure the sales did drop temporarily. But I work at a store that sells beer, and most of the guys who drink Bud Light regularly just kept drinking Bud Light when this shit was going on. Like, they'd make jokes about it when they bought it, but if that's your go-to beer, it's your go-to beer, man. Like, if you've been drinking the same beer for 30 plus years and you stop drinking it because of one media sensationalized controversy, I mean, was it really your favorite beer to begin with? Like,
that's like Copenhagen Wintergreen.
Yeah.
If they started having trannies and shit dip in Copenhagen and being like, only the switched parts dip Copenhagen, I wouldn't stop because I love Copenhagen Wintergreen.
You might crack jokes about the can or something, but it's still your choice.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with having opinions, putting your foot down for your values or whatever you want to call it, but like, you really can't let one quote unquote controversial story completely change your taste and everything, because a lot of times these controversial stories are isolated incidents, and news stations of all sorts, this is not a left right whatever problem, they'll take that story, and if they think it's going to get them a lot of views and a lot of shares on social media, they're going to run with that, man. And that is exactly what happened with all that Bud Light thing. That Bud Light can was never on the market for common availability. You weren't going to walk into your local corner store and find a 12-pack of Bud Light with all kinds of pictures on it like that. That was a single photo shoot. And again, Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch chose to do that. If you want to boycott them for it, that's totally fine, man.
That's your right as an American.
As a consumer in a free market, that is your choice. But again, understand what you're boycotting. Like you were not boycotting a mass production of LGBT themed cans. You were boycotting a single photo shoot where they made a handful of cans for a photo shoot. Like
with the transvestite.
That's it, man. Like
those
cans aren't going to be in your fridge. Like I promise. They weren't then. They aren't now.
But like, I just feel like the whole tranny thing's just like being gay and stuff with extra steps.
It is. In some ways, it is.
If you're a dude that gets your hog lopped off, and then you're just like, I'm a girl now, but I like girls.
The trans thing is kind of a controversial thing too, though, because there's a whole other subject that is and isn't related to the trans thing, and there's a whole concept of gender dysmorphia is what it's referred to as. And basically what that means is you might say you're a man, you dress like a man, you identify as a man, you go to work as a man, you interact with your friends as a man, but you don't necessarily feel like you fit in with other men. That doesn't mean you're trans, but I feel like a lot of people who choose to identify as a different gender are probably experiencing gender dysmorphia and might not realize that's what they're going through. Like that is a real thing. And I feel like a lot of people identify it as something else. Like I've never been in that situation, so it's not my place to tell you how to live and tell you how you feel. But from what I've seen in other people that I've known personally, some of whom I care about dearly, I think that a lot of people need to educate themselves a little more on the whole dysmorphia thing. And that's not, gender dysmorphia is not the only type. There's also body, which basically means that like you might be fit, you might be skinny, but when you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't look at yourself that way.
You think, and
it's kind of the same
obese,
concept.
Grotesque.
That doesn't mean you're trans, but there's a lot of people who, you're born a male, you live your life as a male, but as you get older, you're like, well, a lot of the typical guy stuff might not apply to you. You might not like guns. You might not like hunting, but you're still a man. But you don't feel comfortable as a man. But that doesn't mean you're trans either. So it's like that's a whole other conversation in itself.
You're going to piss a lot of people off with that statement. Well, a lot of independent females that only guys like guns.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Hunting.
There's nothing wrong with guns and hunting, man. Like there's a time and place for all that stuff.
A strong, independent female.
I like everybody. I like everyone watching this. I support you. You're watching. If anything I say upsets you, that is not my intended goal.
It's your problem.
This is an open discussion. That's really all we're going for here.
Right. Yeah. I don't hate anybody. Even the whole tranny thing, it may seem like I'm coming off as hating them. I don't hate them. I just think it's ridiculous.
No, I understand that.
You want to do it?
A lot of things that are ridiculous.
You're allowed to believe ridiculous, and you can make jokes about it. And if you're going to choose to do that, you're choosing to be able to tolerate all the jokes that are going to come your way, because you full well know that they're coming.
Yeah.
So
in certain circles, for better or worse, your existence is going to be considered controversial. That doesn't give anybody a right to physically or mentally harm you.
No.
But it also doesn't mean they're going to understand you. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. There's just, as long as there's no malicious intent behind the joking.
Yes.
It's jokes.
You are still allowed to get up, get dressed, go to work, enjoy your hobbies. You're allowed to do all that stuff. But that doesn't mean everybody in the world is going to pat you on the back for it. There's nothing wrong with that, man. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I like that some people are like, what is this dude's problem? But like, makes me happy.
Exactly.
Know, it's whatever.
I do stuff that people are like, huh?
I like a lot of wacky ass death metal and grindcore music, and some people hear that and they're like, this guy's mentally ill and he's going to kill people. But anyone who actually knows me knows that's not going to happen.
You still might be mentally ill, but
I might be mentally ill, but I'm fun mentally ill.
We all are a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I take pills, but I'm happy.
Yes.
Well, yeah. And another thing with the whole tranny thing, if you're a dude and you turn into a physically attractive female, gay stash, you should have some kind of like warning tattooed on your forehead, like I have a penis, or I at one point had a penis.
Well, one quote that has always stuck with me came from a friend of mine from probably about 10 years ago, who is a trans woman, and I will not identify their name online for the sake of their privacy, but they said something really funny to me one time, and it was they were talking about being at a house party somewhere where somebody came up and they hung out and they were either playing beer pong or a card game, something where they were playing together. And later in the evening, there was a male at the party who caught on to the fact that my friend was a trans woman, and he got really offended by that and was like, well, how come you didn't tell anybody you're trans? And she looked right at him and said, I'll tell you if I have a penis if I'm planning to have sex with you. Otherwise, it's none of your business. And to be honest with you, as long as you communicate that part, I don't think there's anything wrong with that statement. And that statement to me always was actually pretty hilarious.
Yeah, that's honestly solid. Like if you're just bullshitting, whatever.
She basically said, unless I'm planning to take you in the bedroom and get intimate with you, that's none of your business. But if you're going to do that with me, I'll tell you. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good compromise.
That's how it should be.
I can totally dig that.
That's totally fine.
And this person is still my friend. I appreciate them having a compromised approach to the whole situation. That's cool.
Like most even just regular gays, lesbians, and all that, they're like vegans now. Like they just have to tell you that they're gay. It's like, oh, I'm gay, so I do this.
Well, I mean, hey, just
like who cares?
Again, it's like look at what I'm waving around right now. These mass-produced flags that you can get at Walmart or Target or any corporate box store that you can imagine. Dollar Tree probably has them. Dollar General probably has them. You can get them, man. They're easy.
Yeah. Like I don't know.
But again, don't mean those corporations give a shit if gay people live or die. They just don't think they make a few bucks off it.
Yeah, they just want the money.
But they wouldn't be doing this if there weren't buyers. So take that as you will.
But again, I buy them for the humor in it because there's so much humor in it.
People do too.
And I'm not trying to hurt if they do any of that. It just makes people laugh.
This flag in stride. If your life falls under this flag, I defend you. I might be laughing. I might be making some jokes. But if anybody steps in your way and wanted to physically hurt you, I'll have your back, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, it depends on the situation.
Well,
but I mean, more or less, if someone's
you're walking down
the
street on your day off and you're just going shopping or something, somebody wants to give you a hard time,
and they're just like,
I'll have
faggot.
Yeah. You are allowed to go grocery shopping. You are allowed to go to the bar. You are allowed to go to the park. There's nothing wrong with any of that shit. Just do your own thing, man. Don't bother anybody else.
Right. People should leave you alone and shouldn't bother you because of what you are.
Yeah,
I fully support that.
You're not.
But don't promote yourself
to anybody. Yeah.
You're not cool because of it.
Yeah. Well, again, you shouldn't be afraid to walk in your own hometown. Everybody has shit they got to do. Even your worst enemy has to go to work, has to eat something, has to get dressed every day. Those people got something they got to do, man. Like, don't let your personal vendettas ruin somebody else's life unless they're putting you in harm's way. And that should apply to everybody, not just what we're talking about right now. That should apply to your fellow man or woman or whatever, however you want to put it. Just saying.
I identify as a meatloaf.
So yes, this is our first time doing a dual episode together since my dart league ended. So we're probably talking about a 2-month hiatus here. So we kind of had to jump into something a little more
controversial,
a little more serious, a little more controversial,
a little skibbity,
but give a little bit of a lighthearted approach. You could a big problem that adults of all ages face anymore, I feel like, is we're afraid to have controversial conversations. It's like you should not be afraid to talk to a friend, family member, or acquaintance just because your opinions are different. It shouldn't turn into a fight. It shouldn't turn into an argument.
Well, we are putting it on the internet, so we're probably going to catch some flack for this.
I know
somewhere down the line.
You're asking for it.
Like I said, I already got the audio banned on TikTok because I was talking about tranny fluid and lubing my rear of my tractor. Yeah. I stated what it was. Whatever. But again, that comes back to if you're going to do all this, be prepared to take the flack. If you don't like it, your fault.
Yeah.
But we'll wrap this one up quick. But I gotta pull this one out of the old back pocket. So if you're at the bar talking 10 out of 10 hottie, big old fake tits, you take her home and she starts giving you a beager while you're driving, and then you find out she has a penis. Do you let her finish?
Now this is a moral dilemma for a lot of our viewers, I imagine.
Oh, I'm sure. Now,
I'm sure it
me,
is.
I jokingly will say, lips and assholes are genderless, buddy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And depending on how hot the face and the tits are, like,
You can make it work in the moment.
you
You
can
might
get away
not
with
visit
it.
them a second time. You can make it work in the moment.
Yeah. Get that bust and
Yeah.
get into the curve.
Move on with your life. On to the next one.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to cut it at
Yes.
that.
Appreciate
Again,
everyone viewing today. We appreciate this, and we are hoping that it will not be 2 months until our next dual video.
yeah,
So.
this is your straight white average
Yes.
male. Sorry, I'm straight, but you know,
This
whatever.
is our Pride
My
Month
choice.
extravaganza. So
Yeah,
this is the first
yeah.
and last time you'll hear about this issue until maybe next June.
Yeah,
So,
and also I do support gay dudes if they want to purchase some of the stuff on my OnlyFans. Because if I'm making money and you're gay,
yeah, man.
whatever, I'm making money. It's just like the free drinks I
Your
get
money is
flirting with
still
bartenders.
green, no matter what's in your pants or what you want to where you want to put that's in
Yeah.
your pants.
And is that OnlyFans a joke, or do I actually have one?
Jason Ritter, the singer of All American Rejects, just announced that he has an OnlyFans. So you never know, man.
Yeah, I just want to make money. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you're a little gay and you find me attractive, I'm not
Oh,
gay, but $20 is
A
$20.
potential preview for next video. Next weekend, I will be attending the Road to Warped Tour Festival at the Ritz Theater in Scranton, which coincides with the Washington, D.C. Warped Tour event that's happening the same weekend. So maybe in a couple of weeks, I will be able to give you guys a little bit of a recap. I'll be attending the Friday and Saturday of the festival, which will include such bands as Memphis Mayfire, The Word Alive, Escape the Fate, Scary Kids Scaring Kids, as well as about 24 others. So as summer concert season gets a little further, maybe we'll be able to do a little bit of a recap as time goes on. So just maybe giving you guys a little bit of a preview for what next episode might have in store.
He might even wear the unicorn mask and meet some furry friends.
Yeah, man. You never know. There's going to be a couple thousand people there, so you never know.
I'm sure one of them will grease up your horn.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Oh, and also my birthday's on Sunday. Woo.
Yes, happy early birthday to you, my friend.
And then I'm having a yard sale again on June 21st, I do believe. One day, just Saturday. There's going to be
somebody buy his stuff. I'll probably have to work that day, so somebody else buy his stuff.
I don't even know what the hell is going to be there. I'm clearing out my basement. There's going to be a lot of old metal stuff that's rusted to all hell.
You guys might find some gems.
There's a boat motor. A boat motor and 2 toboggans. But yeah, Skibbity Turtleneck, Swam, and Howdy out.
Until next time.
Yeah, whatever.